long last. I knew it would happen. I just didn't know when.
I can't believe this is real.
Yeah, no, it's real.
It's real.
In the Notsam studio, here we have the Deathmatch King.
That's right.
The Indy God.
That's right.
Always ready.
Yep.
The Michael Jordan of wrestling figure collecting.
That's right. Internet champion.
Internet champion.
Yeah.
How to forget the OG. Along with.
That's right.
The Indy Goddess.
That's right.
Internet women's wrestling champion.
Women's internet champion.
Sorry, women's internet champion.
Yeah.
Deathmatch queen.
Deathmatch queen.
That's right.
Yeah.
The best nickname, the third C.
The third
The third C.
That was what the shirt should
The
say. By the way.
third C.
The third C.
That's right.
Yes. And the baddest bitch on the Indies.
And the baddest bitch on the Indies. I will take your money through tweets. Steph Delander, Matt Cardona.
We are here.
Welcome to the Notsam studio. How are you guys?
I'm just looking around. I see my product, Major Bendy's. I see Effie. I see Dan Houser. I see Joe Janela. I see the Good Brothers. Where's the Matt Major Bendy?
I'm waiting for the big rubber guys.
The big rubber guy. Available now. MajorPodMerch.com.
You know, also,
Yeah,
you could
yeah.
probably take credit for products that you see. That's the Ludwig Borga that your podcast
Is that
made
the one?
famous. That's the one.
So, Steph, I know you can't really tell, but that Ludwig Borga is a very rare figure, right? And it's supposed to have 10 fingers like a normal human. But Sam, who we've seen what Sam has done with his life. He's a very accomplished broadcaster. He gets paid by WWE, and he can't afford to upgrade that Ludwig Borga. Look at that. He doesn't even have all the fingers. What are your thoughts on that? He needs to upgrade Ludwig Borga.
yeah.
It was my childhood.
So buy a new one. Fuck. Buy a new one.
Am I going to get canceled if I say I don't know who this is?
No, you won't get canceled. No.
Okay.
That's actually, honestly, Ludwig Borga is probably a good one not to know.
Okay,
who he
well,
is at
I don't
this
know
point.
who that is.
There's not much. Well, I mean, guys.
Yeah.
What an incredible time to be the both of you. I figure just as the world is watching Matt Cardona evolve into the indie savior
Yes.
that you became.
Yes. I get DMs all the time. So, thank you for coming to the Indies and saving us.
Who's that DMing you?
I don't want to, it's confidential, but I get them at least 15 times a week. Thank you so much for coming to our territory.
Wow.
Teaching us how to sell merch the correct way, teaching us how to grab a hold, stuff like that.
You're like the Undertaker
What
of the
holds,
Indies.
what holds do you do? Sorry, I just want to
That's
ask.
a good question.
I rip off my shirt and I choke them with the shirt.
Right, okay. Yeah. Just checking.
Work smarter, not
Yeah.
harder.
I am the Rider Taker, which, by the way, got over 1 million views on social media. Did you watch it?
Yeah, of course I watched it. I've actually, I wanted to compliment you on your increased production value. I think that people, when they do stuff, should continue to get better.
Sure.
And Z True Long Island Story is the godfather of all these kind of internet
is.
wrestling shows. But if you had come out with an iPhone and just kind of vlogging, I'd be like, Matt, like, what do you do? You did this, but to see you.
Well, it's all
multiple
Steph.
cameras.
Steph, we had this idea. If we're gonna get together, you can't be half pregnant, right? We gotta force
right.
this.
I've heard.
We gotta force this. We gotta shove this down people's throats. So we gotta attack from all angles, whether it be getting booked all over the world or flooding people's social media feeds. So like, hey, let's put out a video every single week. And guess what? Sometimes it's fucking hard, but we do it. It is what it is.
So so that's kind of the first question, because that's what I was getting at. That people see you as this savior, right? And you're doing it, and you do it for the last couple years. But then 2023 comes around, right? WWE is smoking hot, AEW is smoking hot, like everything's starting to get back to normal. Brian Myers is over here signing with Impact Wrestling.
Yeah.
Green Green is signing with WWE.
She went back to New York. She left me.
And it's like, what?
She left me high and dry.
She did.
She did.
She ruined my shtick.
Right. And it's like, and you've done the deathmatch thing.
Yeah.
You've done the fish out of water, like, oh, the WWE superstar existing in the indie world.
Yeah.
And I think people were like, okay, like, is that run over?
It's
and then
never
all of
over.
a sudden,
Indie God, baby.
Indie God and the
Indie
next
God.
evolution, which is the two of you. So
Yes.
how do because I feel like people may take for granted that you just be like, okay, we'll just do this together. But Steph, I mean, this is not, like I've heard, you can't get half pregnant.
No.
All of a
She's
sudden,
not pregnant, by the way.
I would hope not. She's a deathmatch queen.
Not,
for God's
not
sake.
pregnant. No.
But my point is more that, like, you're coming out of the WWE system yourself, released from NXT, figuring out like, okay, I'm getting my feet wet. I'm getting in here on the indie circuit. And when you're coupled with the Deathmatch King, it's an all or nothing scenario. Like, does Matt Cardona come to you and say, like, okay, this is what I see for us, but you have to trust me with everything?
You know, I want to cut you off for a second. I've never heard
which fits the scenario I just said.
I've never heard her version of the story because we get asked this question a lot.
Do you wonder why?
So
I was about to say it.
I'd like to hear your version of the story. And
I mean, I think that's it feels fairly inappropriate and almost mansplaining for me to go, hey, Matt, like, how did you?
Yeah.
I'm more interested.
But then he was like, let me mansplain it anyways. Let me mansplain the scenario.
Yeah, how do you make the choice to go like, okay, you know, I've got my own thing going on, but I see what's here, and I'm going to put this level of trust in this Matt Cardona character.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, you know, we were on a tour in Australia, and I grew up watching him. I've known of him for years. We didn't really know each other personally. I mean, we met each other once, but we didn't really have a relationship. But we were on this tour together in Australia, and he came up to me and was like, "Hey, I have to ask you a question." And I was like, "Oh fuck!" I was like, "I've done something wrong. Like, I pissed him off. He's not happy with me."
Let me
Like,
ask you a question. Who the fuck do you think you are?
No, seriously. I was like, oh my God, I've done something wrong. Because we'd literally never spoken. And he was like, oh, do you want to like work with me on the Indies and like be my heater? And I was like, let me just check my really busy schedule of all these dates that I don't have currently. I was like, yes, 100% yes. And then, I flew back to America early and we did a GCW show together and just kind of hit the ground running. But well, like what he said before, like, with the video stuff, like that was my videographer that I introduced into Matt because I was already doing promos with him. And we have like Matt is so all or nothing and I am as well. So we kind of have a similar mindset for all of these things. The difference was like, you know, I had ideas and I wanted to create these promos, but you know, I couldn't afford to do it every week at the time. Or I wanted to get all this gear made, but I wasn't doing shows 3 times a week. So I couldn't, you know what I mean? Like I wanted to do all these things and then I met someone else who wanted to do all those things too. And together now we have more of the resources that we're able to create videos every week. We're able to get UK gear for one-off shows. Like we're able to do all that kind of crazy stuff. So I feel like we both had that mindset separately and then like joining forces, it's kind of been perfect. And I think that's why we've done so well in such a short period of time.
Was there any worry though on your part? Because I mean, the wrestling industry is full of broken promises, right? It's full of people who go like, here's what we'll do this, we'll do that. You never hear from them again, right? Was there any sort of fear or did you know enough about him that you're like, this is 100% who he is?
There was no fear whatsoever.
Right.
And there, to your point, there always is in wrestling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this was something that probably that I've been the most sure of in my entire wrestling career was like, this is a good idea. And
what a
I've never said that,
compliment.
but it's true because like, look at how many years have you spent in WWE?
Like 14.
That's
or so,
not
something
that
like
doesn't happen by accident, you know. So you've got to be doing something right to even have a job there for that long, and then to be able to. God, I can't believe I'm blowing so much smoke right
love
now.
it.
I
Which,
hate
By the way,
it.
the only time he
I'm
ever shuts
sick.
up, he's like, I'm gonna let her.
Yeah, disgusting. But no, what he has created for himself is insane. So if he's been able to do that for himself, you know, what can we create with me along for the ride? And I said to him very early on, I was like, you don't know me yet, but like you have picked the right person. Like whatever you want to do, I will do it 110%. Like I'm up for everything. Like I will, like I want to run with this as much as you want to run with it. So yeah, we've both kind of had that mindset and I think that's why it's done well.
It's also like the most wrestling conversation ever to go up to a woman in a locker room and be like, I want to ask you a question. Do you want to be my heater?
Well, that's
What
the
is
thing.
that?
Is, you know, when Chelsea left, like, and to go back to New York, and Brian Meyer signed with Impact, it was taking less indie dates, kind of ruined my shtick because I am the guy who needs everything. You know, I need the valet, I need the best bud, I need Hornswoggle under the ring, I need my lawyer to come out. You know, so without all that, I felt naked. You know, and I like being naked, but not in a wrestling ring. You know, I'm not Rory Fox over here. You know what I'm saying? I'm not Rory Fox over here.
I do know
so
what you're saying.
I needed something. I knew I needed a girl, but who? You know, I wasn't gonna have a diva search. And we were in Australia, and I saw her, and I mean, just look at her. But the piercings, she's like 6 feet tall, the blonde bangs. I said, that girl is it. And I asked her if she wanted to be my heater. She said yes. And then I went to the promoter, said, can we do this tomorrow night or whatever in 2 days?
Wow.
Like, let's fucking start it now. Let's not fucking waste our time.
Yeah.
Let's fucking go. And then it worked. And then, okay, well, how am I going to get her booked on all these shows that I'm already booked on? GCW, cheap Brett Lauderdale says no. Says, okay, well, fuck you, Brett. I'm going to fly her in, pay her, and put her up. What are you going to say about that?
Wow.
And then Brett looks at her and goes, oh, shit, like, that's a tall son bitch. And then, it's just bringing her along. And, then she's like emailing the promoters. I'm like, hey, I'm on this show. Email this promoter. It was a team effort.
So but for you, for him to fly you in, like, okay, for this first round, I'm going to fly you in on my own dime, and that's how much I believe in this. That's like, oh my God, like that doesn't happen, right?
No, that was, I mean, I felt pressure because I was like, there's a lot riding on this, and like, if I shit the bed, this is a one and done, and thanks, but no thanks. So like, I felt pressure on that day to like really show out. And, I did what was asked of me. We did well. And then all of a sudden we're booked on every GCW show we can do. So it went well, but it was, it was a short-term investment for a long-term gain. And I think that is something that we apply to a lot of different things, whether it's merch, whether it's gear, whether it's videos, whatever else. Like, we invest in what we're doing because we see the payoff. And I think that's kind of what makes us different to a lot of indie wrestlers at the moment.
Yeah, you have to invest in yourself, whether it be, like she said, like we went to the UK, we got all this UK gear for did we waste money? I guess sure, but it's an investment. It's an investment in the look, the entrance, just like when we post the pictures all week long afterwards. It's just the presentation that we're superstars.
And wait till that UK exclusive bendy.
Well, I don't know about that. But like we just go all in with everything, and that's how I've always been with my career. You have to, and no one's gonna push us except ourselves. We're self-pushed, self-made, and I have no problem doing that.
Was there any fear that she was going to flake? Like, because wrestlers are flakes too. Like, or were you going, and if she flakes, we just do this for one show, I'll find something else on the
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think we didn't have time to think about it. I didn't have time to think about it. I found her, and literally we did the show in Australia, and then the next weekend we did shows. We did ECW Arena after that GCW show. We've been doing shows every weekend since. Like, I didn't have time to think about, well, what if she flakes? Or what if she sucks? And she's going to hate that I says, I didn't care if she could wrestle or not. I'm like, can you choke? Can you throw baby powder? Can you...
You're not reinventing
but
the
the best
here.
part is that she can wrestle too. So she
Yes.
wrestles as well. So it's like, we have this dynamic where, okay, we have two wrestlers who can either wrestle single on the card or in a tag match or a mixed tag. We can do it all. That's what makes us unique, unlike any other pairing in wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, and so then going forward from this, do you go, yeah, let's just keep on building on this? Are there sort of like benchmarks that you have, like, okay, for 6 months from now we'll be doing this, and 12 months from now we'll be doing that? Or is it just, let's just keep building on it and make it bigger and bigger and bigger?
Yeah, obviously there's grand plans that we're not going to reveal right now, but it's do as much as we possibly can. I mean, we did the UK. We're going to fucking Japan. We're trying to just take over this indie scene like weekend by weekend. That's what we're doing.
Now, Steph, did you realize how sincere Matt was about, no, this is my whole life. Like, I spend every interview he does, he talks about how, no, when you don't see me, I'm thinking about this. I'm 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Obviously, you found out, I would assume that this is true. You were ready for that?
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Yeah,
she's
And
the same way, too.
I
That's
think that's
awesome.
why after a couple of weeks, it felt like we'd been teaming for 6 months because, when I had, like, in the past, I would be the one being like, hey, let's do this in the match. And I'd be lying in bed at night thinking of ideas, or on the plane thinking of, and my friends would be like, can we talk about this at the show? Whereas, like, he and I are both like that. Like, we're on the plane texting each other ideas this morning for tonight. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't stop from the second we wake up to the second we go to sleep. It's like, it is wrestling, and it's I think what's exciting too is, like, we've both been at WWE where you don't have creative control. And now, if we want to film a video, we'll talk about ideas and then we'll make that video that week. Right. So I think we're both really enjoying having the flexibility of being able to be super creative again and, like, present ourselves whatever way we want to be seen. And if we want outlandish gear and he wants a cape and a crown and glasses and whatever, he gets that. Like, I think we're both really enjoying that. But no, with how 24/7 he is with wrestling, I'm the exact same way. And I think if we've both spoken about, if either of us weren't like that, it wouldn't work the way that it does.
Yeah, I definitely think that that's true. Was there more of a learning curve than people realize for you, Matt, when you left WWE, in terms of, like, I think people almost take for granted that, like, what you're doing, to the point where you just said you're teaching people
Right.
how to operate on a financially successful level at the indies. But when you leave WWE, you don't have any, you have a tiny bit of indie experience before you
Right.
get to WWE, but you have 14 years in the WWE system. That's a different world
Right.
than the independents. So was there a learning curve when you got there, or are you just so kind of wrestling minded that it came naturally?
I think it definitely came naturally. And I say in interviews that WWE was my developmental, and that's not a shot at WWE. I'm so grateful for my time there. And if it wasn't for my time there, I wouldn't be the indie god. I wouldn't be sitting with you right now. But everything I learned in WWE, how to be a star, how to merchandise, how to like promote yourself, that's what I'm doing now on the indies. I get to these shows and like there's people in the locker room like going over their match, like sell some fucking merch, make some fucking money, make a connection with the audience, whether they love you or hate you. Be an asshole to them. I don't give a fuck, but make them hate you, make them love you, whatever. I'm just using that mentality. Like this is not my honky tonk man run. This is my like, I'm going to change the fucking business run and change my career run. And like everything that I've learned from fucking WWE to like last weekend in 1PW, I'm always learning something. In every match, I try to learn something from every opponent. And that's just how I operate. I like to soak it all up, and I fucking will use everybody before me, what I've learned from them, and apply it to make myself a success. You have to in this business.
Yeah.
At least I do,
What about for you, Steph? Like, I mean, when you get released from NXT, it's like you're just I'm sure that you had envisioned what your future would look like. And then in an instant, it's like, no, it won't. It's going to look completely different, and you might not have any idea what that looks like. Was that a scary thing when you first got put into the wild and been like, no, you're kind of on your own now?
Yeah, I mean, it was like I had spent some time on the indies in Australia, which are very different to the indies in America. I'd done a couple of tours on the indies in America, but not much. So then when I got released, it was kind of this like super shock to the system. And I was digging my heels in, and I didn't want to do it. And it was evident in every way. Like the last thing you want to do is go back to the indies when you just signed your dream job and, gotten given this money and promises of more money and WrestleManias and belts and this and that. And then all of a sudden
championships.
Championships.
But yeah, to go from all
you did learn a lot.
to go from all of that to then getting shut out the back end into the indies again, you're just like, what's going on? So then I kind of had to, and I felt it in myself, and I knew that it wasn't connecting, and I wasn't enjoying myself, and because I did a few shows because I had to for my visa, and I just was like, this isn't it. Like, I love wrestling, but I hate wrestling right now, and I don't want to like rage quit and just fully give it up. So I took like 6 months off, which was like a strategic break, and I was like, I need to learn to love this again. I need to miss it. I need to like step away and figure out who I am and what I'm going to be. So I had 6 months off. And then when I came back, it was like, right, just before I kind of met him, then I sat down, I wrote out my, 1 year, 3 year, 5 year and lifetime goals of like, what do I want to achieve? And honestly, I knew a big part of that was GCW. Because when you look around, like GCW is the biggest indie, and even in WWE, you could see it. Everyone knows GCW is the place to be on the indies. But for me, that was daunting because I hate deathmatch wrestling. The deathmatch queen hates deathmatches. I'm terrified of it. I hate it. I can't even watch it. So I was like, where do I fit in this deathmatch company?
You didn't even watch deathmatch.
No, I hate it. I was standing at the merch table. I couldn't watch it. Like, I hate it. So I was like, where do I fit in? But then I realized like, oh, I fit in by being the opposite of what everyone else is. Like, we are the, sports entertainers on a deathmatch indie show. And that's the whole shtick. And also the locker room is awesome. Like, the people are great. Like, I really had to have a huge like mindset shift instead of like, oh, I have to go back and do the indies and into like, oh, I get to go back and like rewrite my path, and I get to go and do all these things that I couldn't do while I was in WWE. So I really had to change the way I was looking at things.
Yeah, and I think that's you can always tell who's designed to be in wrestling long term versus they're there because that's where opportunities brought them when something like that happens. Because it's like, am I getting sent back to the indies? It's like, no, you're not going back to where you were before, because now you're this person who either comes from NXT or comes from WWE, and it's like all that stuff that you did still counts. You're just bringing that with you to the place that you're at now, and that's why I think what you guys are doing works. Now, I remember, Matt, you didn't want to do this Nick Gage death match, and this was I mean, at a time when Nick Gage was fresh off Dark Side of the Ring,
right.
fresh out of jail.
Yeah.
He's a very feared human being in general.
Yes.
And I mean, it's just not. You're a pretty man.
I'm very pretty.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like the aesthetic is important to you. And generally speaking, in the genre of deathmatch, aesthetic, aside from the aesthetic of seeing glass shatter or flesh tear, they're not tanning.
No, they're not.
For a couple of days before the match, right?
They don't even know a guy named Jim.
But so for you, it's like when you go, okay, I'll do this one. You couldn't have known when you walked into GCW how much of an impact it would have.
No.
I'm sure you knew it would be cool.
Right.
But I mean, I remember talking to you right after it, and you were talking about the high that you got from realizing that, like, oh no, they don't just hate me. Like, this is like territory heat. This is old school. They despise me. Dave Meltzer is sitting there offended at the reaction. Like, this is wrestling. We're really doing it. Is it difficult after you get to that high to find it again?
So, when I left WWE, I knew I needed a change. Even while I was in WWE, I dropped the woo-woo-woo shit, dropped the headband, dropped the glasses. But like Steph was saying earlier, you don't have all this creative control. You can only do so much, right? So when I left, I knew I needed a change. The AEW thing, the cup of coffee there, didn't work out. So I was like, okay. At the time, I was fucking bummed out. Like, I'll admit 100%, but now blessing in disguise, right? Because I would have never been able to go to GCW and do that death match, the match that changed my career, changed GCW, changed my life. But you're right, like that high, like I knew it was gonna create some waves and create some buzz, but I could not anticipate what it would do. And I think we're all chasing that next buzz, chasing that next highlight, right? And that's why I think if you're a true wrestling fan, that's why you're in this, to really chase it. Yes, the money, we're all chasing the money too, but we're chasing the glory. And not necessarily the fame, but like we all grew up wanting to be the main event, wanting to have the action figure, wanting to be on the t-shirt. At least I did. I know Steph did. That's the goal. And to ride that momentum is the funnest part and also the hardest part, right? So it's like, I don't know what the next thing is, but I'm going to keep fucking trying until we find it. Like this Indy God thing, we joke about it. It was just a one night outfit that I thought would be funny. And I don't want to say it blew up, but I was smart enough to realize, okay, people are talking about this in a way like I should see what I should do with this, sink my teeth into it. And now like I sell Indy God fucking hats. Like it's ridiculous.
I think that something for me as a fan that's key to watching wrestling is that when the characters don't blink, right? When they're not winking, when they're not like, yeah, I'm in on it too.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like, I think what makes the Indy God is the same thing that makes the Deathmatch King. It's you going out there looking as ridiculous as I've ever seen a human being.
Right.
But your facial expression is like as serious.
Because it's very serious. It's not a joke. Right. This is not like an SNL skit.
You're almost like looking like, can you believe how cool I look?
I do look fucking cool.
And how amazing I'm going to be.
Right.
And I'm like, well, I guess I was laughing at first, but I guess this is cool because look at that guy's face.
That's right. And
right?
I'm the only place I'm laughing is to the bank, baby. Laughing all the way to the bank.
That's right. Well, and that's the other thing. When you're selling hats like that, you can't sell hats like that when you're not wearing Indy God gear.
That's right. And listen, I've said this before. I made more money in last year than I ever made WWE. On the indies.
That's
now,
nuts.
It's because of the podcast and Sam's, this, Crumbs Make Crumb Cake.
Yeah, I've
heard.
I've
podcast, Major Bendy's, the merch, everything. But I have no problem working hard and working my ass off. And I know Steph's the exact same way. And that's why this really works, because it could have just been like some girl who I meet at the shows every, once a weekend. But no, we travel together. We make sure this works. We're texting all the time. We're filming these videos on our off days, doing all this bullshit, because the bullshit is what's going to make us better than everybody else.
Right. Right. Yeah. And I mean, that's the part of the independence is that, like, even if there are people who have never seen you guys work together, they know who you are because of the social media stuff.
Right.
They know, like, the brand exists way
100%.
beyond an independent show. And so they're going to come and go like, oh yeah, I keep hearing about this.
And that's why we flood the social media with the videos, the posts. We always make sure, like tonight, we have a match. We'll take pictures before, we'll take pictures after, we'll cut a promo, and we'll use it all till next week to the next show, because we don't have AEW or WWE. We're not on their main TVs, right? And we haven't been an act for that long, so we're going to force it down your fucking throat.
Right. Did you really sit in a room with, like, executives of a company and say, like, look, first and foremost, I'm not wearing a Nightmare Family jacket. I'm not doing any of that Cody Rhodes stuff. Is that a true story? I read on the internet.
There's some truth to that, but it's a Cody story. There are some. I did not want to be a part of the Nightmare family. That is true. But I do have the jacket in my closet, and if you want to buy it, hit me up. Book Matt Cardona at gmail.com. I'll think about selling it.
Is your name on it?
It says Strong Island on the front.
You're not wearing that.
I'm not wearing that. But no, I mean, listen, I thought the AEW thing.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Did you say that in a room that Cody was in at the same time?
That's not true.
Okay.
That is untrue. That is that is not true.
But Cody still knows the story. I mean, it's
well,
still
it's a Cody story.
Right.
It's a Cody story. I'll tell you this. The day I met Tony Khan, I pitched, hey, we should drop my figure on ringside.collectibles.com the first night pre-order. This has never been done.
No, I mean, and you know what? That's why people don't get it, but that would have been
Never
so
been
great.
done.
It would have been so
Never
great.
been done, right?
But you see, if you're not an action figure collector,
Then
you don't get
it.
it. You don't get it. And that's the thing that's so
Sam,
weird.
as an action figure collector,
Bro, I would order it.
unbelievable.
Of course, it'd be
imagine
great.
this guy jump ship and you could fucking pre-order his figure that night. There's already a render.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Would have changed the business.
Right.
Well, the wrestling figure business.
Yeah. And then you're bragging about, I went to AEW because I got an action figure on night one. When did you get your action figure?
I will say I've had 2 matches there, but 3 t-shirts.
So...
Shit, that's good math, isn't it?
I mean, seriously, can you imagine a promo on Dynamite where you're sitting there with like John...
3 shirts.
I did.
You're sitting there looking at John Moxley in the face going, how long did it take you to get an action figure? I got
Exactly.
one on night
Night one, motherfucker. You know, that's heat.
That's heat. That is heat.
Yeah, I wasn't a heel then yet.
You should have been.
I
You
should have
got to
been.
be. You have to be.
Yeah.
Look, Steph, do you worry? Because, like, I mean, Matt hasn't done a lot of death matches, but he did the one.
Yeah.
I was there.
Well, I'm the king.
I know.
And
You
she's
got
my
to be-
queen.
Yeah. I'm the
But
queen.
do you worry that at some point, like, there's got, like, that's the thing about being a great villain is a payoff has to happen. Eventually, there has to be a payoff. Are you concerned that, look, at some point, I might have to step into at least a death match ring? I might have to go through some glass and tubes and whatnot.
Yeah, I'm terrified.
You terrified
We talk about.
Yeah.
I tell him every week. I go, I don't want to do it. I'm not doing it. And he's like, at some point, maybe.
I don't know if I'm telling tales out of school, but I had to watch this man explain to deathmatch wrestlers why Detolf glass is not the same. Like, you can't be slamming people through Detolf.
I
Somebody's
don't
gonna
know
get
what
killed.
that is.
The Detolf is those shelves that Sam has over there with the figures on display.
I have that is from glass from GCW. I didn't have a death match. I had a
No.
normal wrestling match.
yeah.
Catch
So
as catch can.
it was
That's what
just-
happens.
it
Shit
was just
happens
there.
in
Shit happens.
GCW.
Look, the thing is, right? Like, obviously, I'm not stupid. At some point, I'm going to be having one death match.
Safe and spectacular.
But it's going to be the best death match you've ever seen. Not as
Right.
good as yours. It's going to be the second best
Second-
death match you've ever seen.
Yeah.
And that's just because that's the way that I do it. That's the way he does it. We'll be in it together probably. So the thing is like when we do it, it's going to be insane. So as much as I'm terrified of it,
And that's the beauty of it. You're legitimately terrified.
legitimately fucking we were at the show the other week and I literally was like, I can't watch it. Like, I hate it.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'll put my big girl pants on for a day to give the people what they want, but it will be insane.
That's why I love that the Deathmatch King thing and how it came about is so, I know it to be true because I remember texting Matt and Brian Myers a picture of a figure of Onita. And at the time, Matt Cardona said, "Who's that?"
That's
I don't know. I don't know who Onita is either.
That's why she's a
Deathmatch
perfect partner.
queen.
Perfect queen.
Exactly.
Perfect queen.
Absolutely perfect
Exactly.
But
queen.
now look, I have made figures for guys in GCW.
I
Nick
know.
Gage himself, Joey Janela,
over there.
Effie. You know, so I am giving back to the business. Listen, I'm not here to pass the torch. I'm here to light a new one for myself.
Yeah.
But
I love that. I've never heard that. No, I'm the
well,
same
just-
way.
It's,
I've just never heard that. I love that.
because I'm a fucking OG. I'm an innovator. But what I was to say is, but if I can help some guys or girls along the way, so be it.
Right.
You know, I will pass on my knowledge, whether it be in-ring stuff, navigating backstage, merchandising. Sure, I'll do that, but it's not about them. It's about me. Now it's about her and I together.
What do you think about the physique, though? Right? I mean, you're jacked. That's part of the deal, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that like that people can get by without being jacked up or
Well, I think those days are long gone. You know, I mean, I wish I looked like the warlord, but I don't. You know, like those days are gone. I mean, look at like all over the business. There's all different shapes and sizes, and that's fine. Me personally, I want to look like a 1990s WWF wrestler. That's my preference. If you don't want to look like that, that's fine. There are plenty who don't look like that who are wildly successful.
That's right.
So I have nothing. I don't care about that.
How long did your tan take?
Well, yesterday I went to the beach in Florida, and then I went to the tanning salon.
After the beach?
I did.
Did you go in the bed?
I did not go in the bed, no.
I was going to say, I'm not listening to your sunburn sob story if you went in the bed.
Usually I triple dip, which is laying in the bed, then get 2 sprays. Yesterday I just double dipped.
Oh.
So I went to the beach.
Oh, so this isn't even the max.
I double dipped last night for reference.
Yeah.
So this is what a double dip should look like, and that's what it
Well,
looks
because
like.
I had some natural sun,
Yeah.
like Hogan would.
Right.
Yeah, what would Terry do?
That's
So
got that bracelet.
That's right. So I went to the beach, then I got 2 sprays, and then when I got home, because I had tanned and I wasn't wearing like a Speedo, my legs weren't as tanned as my upper body. So then I got Chelsea to give me some of her tanning cream, and then I tanned my legs with an extra coat.
Terry would have tanned in a Speedo.
He would have.
Yeah,
he would
would
have.
have.
He would
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
Maybe, Terry, if you're listening, we'll go to Tampa, Clearwater. We'll tan the Speedos together.
I think it's a good idea.
Would you join us then?
Can I come? Yeah.
Please, yeah.
I'd love to.
Everybody in Speedos just
Yeah.
flexing for the
Yeah.
Yeah,
camera.
let's do it.
What is something that hasn't worked for you? You've talked about this before. You said
So
look,
many things.
Like what? What's been something recently? Not like way back in the day when you were trying, but like what's something that you're like, okay, I think this will probably do well,
But did nothing?
did nothing.
So I thought it'd get over if I started calling myself the agent. Like there's so
Oh, I
many,
remember that.
like
I
there's
thought it was
free
dumb when I-
agents,
yeah, I know.
but I'm the agent. I even trademarked it, wasted thousands of dollars on it. So it's still mine.
Yeah, because I'm like the agent. I'm thinking about like Ari from Entourage. I'm like, he's gonna be an agent.
It's the way you say it,
Oh.
like the agent.
Yeah.
Like there's so many free agents, but I'm the agent. And I still believe that I am we are the agents. I mean, you look at the landscape of pro wrestling. There's always free agents, but we are the agent.
We
if you're,
are.
If you're the booker man in whatever company and you're looking for your star, how do you not?
I got it. You're still trying to sell it, but like when you say I'm the indie god, I'm like, oh, cool. When you say
Right.
the Deathmatch King, I'm like, oh, cool. And you're like, we're the agents. I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
okay.
I don't. Yeah.
It didn't.
You're-
It
you're
didn't work.
not like-
it didn't work out.
And what would she be like? Okay, because like if you're Deathmatch King and Queen,
No, so
indie god and goddess, would she be the other agent?
I wouldn't let him. I would say no. If he asked me before we teamed if he should trademark the agent, I would have said
But
absolutely
you know,
not.
so for instance, so she would, if I was the agent and it took off, she would become like part of it. So the agents. But for instance, so when I first
But
got,
that's like
I'm
Agents
not
of S.H.I.E.L.D., like
hashtagging.
Scully
I'm
and
not doing
Mulder.
that.
like-
okay, so when I got released, I trademarked major player. And it didn't really take off. But then Brian Myers, we became the major players.
Right.
That took off.
Right. And
Right?
it's still yours.
It's still mine. Right. But now it's like I'm the major player again, kind of like the British Bulldogs.
Yeah.
Davey Boy went solo.
Why?
Like it wasn't the British
You're
Bulldog.
the Davey Boy Smith of
Well,
the
was
major.
it? No,
yeah.
but I'm saying it wasn't
No,
the
I mean
British.
it's okay because
No.
that's better, way better than the Rocket because that would mean that Brian's the Dynamite Kid. And that's awesome.
Well, right, but it wasn't the British Bulldog Dynamite Kid.
Right.
It was the British Bulldog,
Davey
Davey
Boy
Boy Smith. Right.
So you're the major player, always ready.
Well,
Matt
I
Cardona.
wish Brian Myers was along for this ride, but unfortunately, he has a family and he
Right.
likes to be home with his family.
Right.
Which I'm not saying, unfortunately for me, fortunately for him, I would love to have him here. And we still, he was involved the first night Steph was there.
But you know what? It makes it special when he shows up.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, because
Like
everybody's
Hammerstein
still
Ballroom when he came in.
Yes.
When he came in with that fucking.
He got to do the edge thing.
The edge thing. Oh my! I keep sending her the match. Like, please watch this. She never. And if I send her something above 45 seconds, she won't watch it.
Wait, the edge match or your match? She won't.
My
watch.
match.
He sends me everything.
You won't watch his.
Hammerstein
GCW
Ballroom?
did the Hammerstein Ballroom. You know what? Do you know what an accomplishment it is that GCW did the
Sold out.
Hammerstein Ballroom sold out?
I do, but
That was the
I'm-
marquee
And-
match.
Can
And
you
yeah,
shut the fuck up for 1 second? Please. No, I'm
right.
making a stand because he sends me too many videos to watch and I don't want to watch any of them. So now I've just said I'm not watching any of them.
how much of the videos that he sends are his stuff?
Oh, all of
Almost all of them. He'll be like, hey, here's this 43-minute YouTube vlog from 8 years ago.
No,
I'm
you
like, I'm
did.
not-
No, I sent
He's
her.
like, fast forward to 450. I'm like, I'm not fucking doing this. Like, no.
I honestly like naive me, I figured that like you sent her some of your favorite moments that inspired you. Like, watch this match from ECW One Night
No,
Stand.
he's like, look at this
No.
cool thing that I did. And I'm like, I don't care.
Well, I tried showing her me and Joey Janela at Super Gabby's. You ever see that? Where Joey Janela attacked me while I was at Super Gabby's?
yes.
Yeah,
I
she-
remember. Yeah, she didn't want to see it.
I clicked on it and I scroll and I went, they're fighting in a toy store. Okay.
Wait, what was the purpose of her watching you and Joey Janela fighting at Super Gabby's?
Because you wanted me to go with you and do
Yeah,
something
the Super
like
Gabby.
that.
I want something with Super Gabby, yeah.
And you thought that she would see the magic and go like, "Oh, Super Gabby's is definitely the spot to shoot an angle. Like, we got to do this."
Yeah, I forget exactly why I sent that particular video, but maybe something like that.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Oh man, I can only hope that at some point the Super Gabby
Well, you
cameo.
know.
Do you know Super Gabby stuff?
I met him last House of Glory.
He was just there
But I didn't know-
backstage.
I didn't know who he was. But I was like,
He's from
that's Super
Florida.
Gabby.
Yeah,
I was like, who?
He might be there again tonight. Who knows? Who
Yeah.
knows?
So you're the House of Glory world champion, correct?
I have so many titles. I'm losing track, pal.
But you beat Jacob Fatu.
I did. Hell of a competitor. Holy shit.
I mean, you're pretty close to beating a member of the Bloodline.
Well, I'm a member of the figure line. You know?
I don't know if the figure line is going to take off.
You don't
either.
think so?
Nah, doesn't make any sense.
That makes more sense than the bloodline.
Well, the Bloodline is a bloodline. It's like
the
a
figure line. You know,
a
it's like,
line of figures.
You've ever heard of a figure?
No, like a
course.
series of
Yeah, like a
action
se-
figures.
yeah, exactly. The figure line.
Yeah.
No? Okay. Hey, Dawkins, don't bill me for that one.
Oh, I love it. But yeah, I mean, he is amazing. When you go into these spots, are you surprised that they're willing to let you carry the mantle, or do you feel entitled to it?
It's actually the opposite. I don't want to, because like they put me in this position that I'm obviously going to beat their guy. You're right. You put me against a champ, I'm going to win. And then they expect me to like, bring their title everywhere. How many fucking titles can I?
Are you complaining about having 8 championships right now?
Sam, this is a true story. Last House of Glory, I had won my 8th title. We went to the hotel. My bag broke.
What?
From too many belts. I legitimately, thank God, our flight the next morning.
Too many championships.
Too many championships.
Yeah.
Too many championships.
Thanks, Sam.
Thank God our flight was later the next morning. I could go to a Target and get a new bag. Wasn't Toomey. Ugh, puke. Gross.
Chumi sucks. Chumi was the one that broke.
Yeah, but at least if I was home, I could
And have you got a new Chumi since? No. You're still
I don't-
carrying.
I don't have time to
You're
shit. You
still
don't go to
carrying
the
around
fucking
the
mall?
Target one.
Right.
You're
You
still
don't-
using the Target one.
You don't have time to go to mall.
I don't give a
Exactly.
shit.
Right.
Exactly. So
I'm
it's
going to the mall?
Right. No, I get it. I
Defeats
get
the
it.
purpose.
I get it. It's tough.
But, yeah,
But so you're saying
it's a tough
that, like,
life being the champion of all these promotions.
of everywhere.
World Series Wrestling in Australia. You know, House of Glory, New York.
you're gonna forget one.
Of course I'm going to.
Do you ever get confused? Bring the wrong promotion's title to the
No,
wrong
but sometimes
show?
like I always like make sure what promotion am I the champion? Like make sure before.
Always the internet champion.
Oh well, I
Always.
mean the most prestigious title in
Yeah.
wrestling.
Right.
Besides, well, the women's is second. Women's
Yeah.
internet, then the men's internet
Right.
because it changed the business.
Well, you could have said that the 2 internet championships are the most prestigious, but you did make clear just now that hers is the second most.
Well,
Yours
yeah.
is still the
Well,
very
Do you
best.
see the dynamic of this?
yeah.
now?
Well, she has time to
I
maybe.
also
pass
noticed
me.
that he said that you guys text on the plane when you're on the same flight,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's because he's sitting up in first and I'm back in row 40,
One
40
time-
47 in the middle.
Steph,
That
tell the
is-
truth.
yeah.
One time I let her sit in first. I swapped her.
He let me sit in first, and then he goes, when he did it, he goes, just to let you know, if this flight was longer than an hour, I would not be doing this.
But I wanted her to like get an orange juice, you know, like experience it.
Experience it, kid. I just love the dynamic.
And he brings it up every interview we have. He goes, just
No,
let
I don't
everyone
think
know.
I don't think that's ever been made
No,
public.
you did. You mentioned it last week.
I love the dynamic of you guys going to the airport and then him saying, "All right, see you later, champ."
He
And him
does.
watching you as you go to the back.
Yeah, no, that's how it is.
That's not true, Steph. Come on.
Yeah.
She got to the airport before me today, actually.
Yeah, and then he texted me, he goes,
That's
"You're-"
weird because you board way before she does.
He texted me, he goes, you're late. I was like, no,
No,
I'm
I
not.
texted her, Steph, the latener.
Yeah, but I'm not putting over your shitty puns. So he said that, and I was like, no, I'm here. I'm usually late, but he was late today.
Now, speaking of Cody stories, Cody
Yeah.
also said that he was surprised that the information about his WWE return didn't leak because you knew it was you were part of the advice panel.
I was.
but you're a
Yes.
stooge. He said.
I'm not
Wait,
a
are
fucking
you a
stooge.
rat?
No.
He said that he was surprised that
Cody,
Matt
like-
Cardona didn't stooge it off.
Cody,
Oh.
Cody, he feeds me information that I feel like he wants me to tell people, right? So I never say anything because I don't. And with Cody, you don't know if it's a truth or a Cody lie. We all know what if you know Cody Rhodes, you know a Cody Rhodes lie. This is a true story. You won't understand this, but there's a very famous Hasbro wrestling figure of Dusty Rhodes, right? Now there's this rumor and innuendo that there's one with yellow boots.
Right.
Right.
And nobody's known, Steph, because Dusty has white boots. People have they've debated. No, I seen a picture, but it just sun faded.
Yes, like I bought one before. It's clearly sun
Wait,
damaged.
so this is like Sasquatch, but a wrestling figure?
No, because it's.
Does it exist?
The only way to prove it existed is if there was a mint on card, a mock version, which Cody
and the rest of the card would have to be clean, not sun damaged.
Cody said that he had one, and he brought it to TV, and all day I'm like, Cody, show me this figure, show me this figure. Long story short, he's like too busy doing something. Hey, just go in my bag and look for it. So of course I go through his bag. It's not there because it doesn't exist. And then he's telling the boys that I went through his bag. You know, like that's a Cody Rhodes story for you.
Leave Broski's going through my bag.
Yeah, that's a Cody Rhodes. So when he told me that like Vince flew down, I'm like, yeah, sure he did, Cody. You didn't even. But I gave him advice,
right,
as if it were true, and I said, Cody, like there can only be one first to go back. To make the jump ship, you know?
Yeah.
And he did it. So
because you also gave him advice when he left, right? When he left WWE the first time?
I might have. I don't know. Did he say I did? If he said I did, then I did. I'll take the credit.
Yeah.
I'll take the credit.
But you're not, for the record, you're not a stooge.
I'm not a stooge, no.
This is the first I've heard of you being a stooge. And I'm rethinking everything.
Cody is also spread rumors that I'm a pecker checker.
What's a pecker checker? What, when you look at a guy's dick when you're peeing?
In the shower.
Right.
Like this is the kind of guy Cody is, that he says like in public that I'm a stooge and a pecker checker.
Are you a pecker checker?
I'm not a pecker. I check my own pecker. Especially if you use the blue chew, make sure it works. You know?
Right. Sure. Of course. You got to make sure your investment is on point, but you're not, for the record. I feel like, I like my interviews to have like a value for the consumer, right?
Yeah,
like you need to come away with
If
something.
they take away anything from this,
it's
that
that
Matt looks at guys' dicks in the shower. That's crazy.
No, I am not a stooge
on record,
nor pecker checker.
Okay, neither one. Or to phrase it differently, Cardona is just as much a stooge as he is a pecker checker.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
So if you're one, then both or neither.
That's a clickbait headline right there.
Okay.
That's a clickbait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, that's
you learn something new every day. Steph.
No, I think it's. Are you rethinking things?
I am. Yeah. It's not the first time I've been friends with a rat, so now I'm just like, what do I do?
Stop it. But luckily, there's no showers on the Indies, so couldn't be a pecker checker anyway.
Right. There's no showers in like GCW locker room.
No. There's not even a locker room half the time. There's no waters by match 2. There's no waters left. It's a nightmare.
Yeah. When did you get used to that lifestyle, Matt? Like, I mean, coming from where you came from, the idea that like, no. Like you just said a minute ago.
Yeah.
GCW is the top.
Yes.
Like, there's no better.
Yes.
As far as independents go, and you're changing in an alleyway.
The first time I experienced something like that, I said, like, this is it. You know, it is what it is. Just fucking suck it up. But one thing that I did, listen, I'm not going to, get a bus. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to get the Cody bus. But one thing I do, and now that I have Steph with me, like, I don't have, like, don't send your fucking minion to pick me up from the airport. I rent my own car on my own dime, do my own schedule. Steph, come on board.
Yes.
This is our life, and we're gone so often. Like, I need to be enjoying what I'm doing. If I'm going to be miserable, fucking changing an alley or fucking sipping one bottle of water for 5 hours, I have to make sure that the rest of no catering.
Yeah.
I have to make sure that the rest of the day is as smooth as possible.
Yeah. Oh, so you'll make the investment to go like just whatever I can do to find my peace.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's whatever it is, $100, $200 a day, it's worth it.
Yeah.
And it sounds crazy, but it's worth it.
No, I
Then
get it.
have some minion pick you up. His AC doesn't work. He's fucking trying to talk to you. Then you're either talking back and you don't want to talk, or you're texting, you're being rude.
And then you look like an asshole.
Yeah. It's like, stop.
Yeah.
One time with that, I said, never again. Rented a car.
So for the that's the other takeaway. Whoever you are out there, the one person that picked up Matt Cardona, if you've ever picked him up at the airport, understand you're the guy. You're the one.
Oh, your AC didn't fucking work.
Yeah, now there's no way that it's not. My AC didn't work.
You were very lovely, though. It's just fuck, I can't deal
Good
with
guy.
that shit. Yeah,
good
great
guy. Hey, love the guy.
Yeah.
But
yeah, my neighbor's a nice guy too.
I love it. I've been hearing about the construction of your new house on the Major podcast, the new
right.
figure room.
That's right.
Being constructed.
That's right.
Steph, have you sort of familiarized yourself with action figure culture since then? Like for me, it's secondhand. Like I listen to Major podcasts because they talk
Major
about
wrestling favorite podcast. Get it right, Sam. Come on. I don't say the Sam Wrestling podcast.
No, you're right.
You know?
You're right. The Major Wrestling Figure podcast. I listen to it because this is. I mean, obviously, this is the stuff I've been into since I was a little kid and never stopped. But like, there was a learning curve for my wife, for example, where it's like, no, you don't like. This is a whole lifestyle, and now she gets it. She's not a hobbyist. She's not a collector.
Right.
She's not with me on it. But like, when I'm coming home, she knows where I am if I'm at Target.
Sure.
I'm not buying clothes.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
Is this something that you have become accustomed to? I feel like talking about trial by fire.
I mean, we're not married, so I don't have to deal with his shit in that way. Like, I'm not obliged to, like, you know, I don't have to
But
do
you
that.
are on the road, right? And I know.
Well,
like,
when
you're
we-
making Target stops.
When we go into Target, we go, see you in 10 minutes. I'll go get food or fuck around, do what I want. He'll go to the figure section and then I'll come and find him and he'll buy 4 things that he doesn't need. And it is what it is. I don't dislike figures. I mean, I think they're cool, but it's not one of my hobbies. You know, I've got a few other interests outside of wrestling. Figures isn't one of them. So I don't dislike it, but it hasn't like turned me into a huge wrestling figure fan.
Right.
But what I will say is he's got a whole like community of fans that are just fans of their podcast, and you know, him and Brian and the whole crew. And you know, because of that, I've kind of become part of that too. I've joined the Facebook group and I fuck around with the fans and stuff. So I've got like a whole crop of new fans that are now interested in me and what I'm doing, and they buy my merch and stuff. So in a way, like, it really does benefit me and I'm very thankful for it. So yeah, the community side of it I think is awesome. Just like the actual figures, like I don't really know much about it.
Did you really have dinner with John Cena?
I did.
That's awesome.
I did. Steph knows about it, right?
He was texting me all day. Just got my dinner with John Cena tonight. Sorry, I won't be available tonight. I'm just going out to dinner with John. I know, you told me.
John Cena.
Wait, yeah, I mean, it's John Cena. I
That's right.
spent a small amount of time with him in a room with microphones. And I was like, John
you,
Cena.
you didn't bring John to the basement, though.
No, I would trust me.
Yeah.
I'm already trying to figure out
Yeah.
like, okay, how do I finagle John to come?
Okay.
Because this is where the real conversation.
This is where the magic happens.
This is where the magic
I got it.
happens.
I got
I mean, is this? How did the dinner with John Cena come about? Is this? Have you just remained friends since
Just
your
remain
time
friends.
in WWE?
You know, John was somebody who, you know, he saw what I was doing with the Z Trolling Out story. And it's like, this kid like wants it. And he gave me so much advice. There's so many things outside of the ring, inside the ring that I owe to John Cena. So
What is something that some advice that John Cena gave you? Because I mean, just spending a small amount of time with him in like an interview situation, I was blown away by it. You know, I was putting clips out from the interview, and I was reading all the fans that were like just listening to this guy. The level of wisdom and the level that he's working at when it comes to wrestling is like insane.
Oh, insane. And like I think the number one thing, like the merchandise, how important it is.
Yeah.
Right. And like, you know, every couple of months he would switch up everything, switch up all the colors. It's the orange. It's not just a new shirt. It's the wristbands. It's the hat.
Yep.
They changed
The
the
towel.
Tron. Right. They added the towel. So he knows what he's fucking doing. He's John Cena for a reason.
Yeah, how about him coming out at, what was it, SummerSlam in the like limited edition?
Yes, so that NFT shirt thing, right?
NFT
Yes,
shirt,
yes.
right?
Like he knows the merchandise is so important, and he's like the king of it.
Yeah.
So anything I could like pick his brain on, I would.
It's do you feel like that's what has attracted people to you who kind of love wrestling, is that they see that thing in you? They're like, oh, this back then, this kid's for real. Because I mean,
Yes.
John Cena was a big Zack Ryder supporter pretty publicly.
So, you know, when I was doing that YouTube show, it was guys like John Cena who would retweet it or post about it, or Steve Austin or DDP. You know what I'm saying? Like one of those guys who would post about it that would make people watch and give it a chance. Then they're watching it and they realize this kid is just like us. He's a fan who grew up loving this, and it made them root for me. Even to this day, some of those fans I still, and some of those fans I wrestle now in the Indies, which is even crazier.
That's wild.
Like people who tried to be broski. I haven't wrestled a broski of the week yet, but people who have tried to be, you know.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't wrestled a successful broski of the week yet. So if you're out there, let me know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Steph, you and I are in a similar boat where I think we've both. He's tweeted pictures of both of us out at a Zack Ryder autograph signing.
Yeah. Yeah. I met him when I was a fan, like 2 separate WrestleManias. So it's pretty crazy for me to be, in the position that I'm in. And yeah, for someone that I literally grew up watching on TV to be tagging with, but then also like the number one person on the indies. Like that night when he asked me to be, or the next day when he asked me to work with him, I like drove home with my parents in Australia from the show. And they were like, oh, like what's the deal with like this Matt guy? And I was like, there is not a single person on the indies that I would rather team with. Like, this is best case scenario for my career. Like, this is the best thing that could have happened.
I'm the John Cena of the indies.
Yeah. Seriously. Like,
are.
I can't think of anyone that's charging more money than you. And if they are, they shouldn't be.
That's
like,
true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah.
But what you was talking about with that meeting me at like fan access, I was always wondering, like, were you online to meet me, or was there like who was before
The
we
old switch Steve?
right of the switch Steve, you know what I'm saying? Like, who were you trying? Like, were you trying to meet the core? Right. And then I get up there.
I'm sure at least
She was
one of
wearing a
them.
cane. Why are you wearing a cane mask to meet Zack Ryder?
I mean, I'm sure at least one of them I was there to meet you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Keep lying to me. I
You want to
appreciate
meet the
it.
internet champion, but I also think that there's an endearing quality. It's obnoxious, but also endearing. Like a lot of people, if they have a friendly relationship with John Cena and they're going to dinner with him, they're cool about it.
Right.
You're not cool about it. No.
Well, I'm so cool about it that I could publicly say I'm friends with John Cena. We got to dinner.
But you're not that cool to like text your person that you work with and go like, hey, guess who I'm going to dinner with? Hey. Like that's not like
Because I know how obnoxious it sounds.
Right.
But
It's
he does
entertaining.
shit like that all the time. He'll text me and be like, oh my God, the worst thing ever just happened to me. I'm like, what just happened? He goes, the overhead bin space in first class was full, so I had to put my bag in coach while I'm sitting in row 48 on the toilet, just being like,
hey,
well,
hey,
my seat doesn't go backwards. But anyways.
on your way off the plane, can you pick my bag up for me?
Yeah.
I should have did that actually.
Yeah.
Instead of,
It's in row 15.
Oh, yeah.
Can you pick it up on your way
I was just
out?
waiting there like a schmuck. Should have told her to grab it.
Yeah. So he does it all the time.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Is it tough to deal with? I mean, I saw you guys. 5 bags, checked baggage.
Normally
checked
there's
luggage.
one more, but this was not a deathmatch king weekend.
You didn't have to
because
bring the crown?
No crown.
The crown has its own bag.
Yeah.
And you didn't have to bring the crown this time.
Not this weekend.
Not
no.
this weekend.
No. But I have 4 bags on me right now.
So, but this is why you got to think about this stuff 24/7. Like you're
Right.
neurotic. There's no like
Yeah.
a lot of people would just go like, oh, whatever. I don't think about the trip until right before I leave. But you have to. I mean, everything's got.
we don't think about it either.
I mean, I
we leave
packed
it
this
there.
morning.
We leave it there, just ready to go.
Yeah.
But the thing is like all of that stuff to me, it's all the like extra 10% or 5% that not many other people in the indies do. So it's like that's the little extra mile of coming and doing this the day of a show, flying in a suit, bringing 3 or 4 check bags for a 2-day thing, like all of that stuff that. Sure, there is an easier way to do it. Sure, this is a bit of a headache, XYZ, whatever. But that is what separates like the great from the good. And I think, it all pays off in the long run.
Do you see like Cody's return to WWE and how he did it in a way that was fairly atypical, right? Like this, clearly Cody's return is specialized for Cody, right? It capitalizes and acknowledges everything that he did after leaving WWE and comes in with that, which we really haven't seen before. Like we've seen people come in with a wave of momentum, but not in a way where clearly, like the fact that he's bringing his music back.
I mean, listen,
the
like you just
logos
said,
back.
not once in wrestling history has someone jumped ship with their music.
Right.
Never.
Right.
Never
I
been
mean,
done.
That's what struck
until I come back.
Right.
Always ready.
No more that woo-woo bullshit. Zack Ryder's dead.
But that's what struck me at WrestleMania, right? When like seeing it was the logo for me,
Yes.
right? Seeing the Nightmare Factory family
Yes,
logo
yes.
show up and go like, this is him, and this is the first time.
Well, if you're going to get tattooed on your neck, you'd hope it's on your
There's
Tron, wouldn't you?
nothing- yeah,
Imagine if it was
that's true.
something else.
He has earned everything that he's getting right now.
But do you look at that and go like, okay, like I know now where the goalpost has been moved to.
And his run on the indies as well as guys like Drew McIntyre.
Yes.
I stole from both of those and then added my own twist. So hopefully the next guy steals from all 3 of us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm adding on to things that they weren't doing, and I hope the next guy is adding on to things that I wasn't doing. And that's just how it's going to be.
To jump off that as well, I got fired and I texted Drew and I said, hey, what did you do? And he
Really?
goes, yeah. He goes, I did this, and this. You should do it. And so I always go back and read the messages, and everything that he told me to do, I apply to every single show. And I think it's just, if you want the role of someone else, why would you not look at what they've done and follow that? And then, as Matt said, add to it. And
at least try, right? Like, there's certain things that Cody did and it worked for Cody so well that I tried and did not work for me. Like, for instance, I tried like having like the agent guy. Did not work for me, right? So now I do everything. You want to book me? Book mattcardona@gmail.com.
Oh, I mean, like you had a person.
Not the agent. That was like Cody idea.
Yeah. The agent to work.
Okay, so you had like a guy
who like did it, and it was great. But like I love this shit.
Yes.
You know?
Yep.
I want to be hands-on. I want to know what the negotiations are. I want to know every little detail. Not that he wasn't good, he was great. But I want the fucking control. In WWE, there's only, like, for a guy like me, there was only so many things I can control. Now, I can control fucking everything, and I fucking love it.
Yeah.
I want to control every aspect of it, whether it be fucking the booking, whether it be the fucking merchandise, whether it be my fucking figures, all the bullshit. I want to be involved in all the bullshit.
Every detail.
Every fucking detail. And she's just like that. That's why we get along so fucking well. And it's not just like a business thing. Like, we're friends. And whether we're friends through this business or not, it's because we keep fucking texting each other, calling each other ideas. Even though half of them we might not ever do. We're just always fucking thinking of shit because we want to get to the next level and above.
It's also, but I think the key to that, which you guys have both done well, is that you have to make it so that, okay, if you want to come back, if you were to come back and you wanted to do so on your own terms. Well, yeah, I know about the 3 C's. I've heard one of them's right here in the studio with us.
That's one. The other two are cash and creative.
Yeah.
But if you want to be able to do that on your own terms, for instance, you coming back as Matt Cardona.
Yeah.
I think what you need to do is leave and make it so that Matt Cardona or Steph Delander is a more valuable brand than Zack Ryder or Persia Pirotta, right? And
I'd argue that we've done that.
I would argue that you've done it too.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's really rare.
It's
I mean, the WWE is a machine
Right.
that they put behind their branding, which means that you two have to operate as machines
Right.
to create brands behind these names that weren't exposed by the other machine.
I think it's really rare, and I think it's rare because it's very, very hard. And
Yeah.
I honestly don't think, and I don't want people to take this the wrong way, I don't think many people are willing to put in as much work
They're
as
not.
it takes to get there.
They're not. I
Like-
can tell you right now, they're not.
They're not. Like,
And I have no sympathy for that.
Like, we work and we work and we don't stop working. We fly in on like a Sunday afternoon or Sunday night or whatever, sometimes a Monday morning. And Monday morning at 9 a.m., we're up filming videos all day. Like, we do not have downtime. I don't see my friends right now. I don't date people. Like, I don't do anything other than work, train, eat, sleep, and then do it all again. But that is for right now, this period of my career and his career, that is what we need to do to be in the position that we're in. It's not by accident. Like, we very easily could have gotten released and just like become irrelevant and toiled away and gotten our little paychecks and been happy to wrestle in front of 50 people for the next few years. But like, I didn't want that for myself. He didn't want that for himself. And I think, yeah, it's very hard work, and I don't think many people are willing to do it. And I think that is the only reason why we've done it, you know?
Have you guys, I mean, clearly everybody's aware of what's going on, right? Everybody in wrestling is aware of what's happening. But have either of you guys gotten kind of notes from higher up people in other organizations going like, we see you, we're aware?
I have not. I've not been in any communication with anybody. They know my numbers. So listen, I would have a phone call with anybody, but I don't know if I would go back to either big company right now. Like, I feel like we're fucking killing it. No matter how you define success, accolades, money, happiness, I'm the most successful I've ever been in my career. I'd be lying if I said I didn't want to go back to, wrestle in front of a big fucking arena or a stadium or go walk into Target or Walmart, see my action figure, not one that I created, majorpodmerch.com. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course I'd have a phone call, but right now we're fucking killing it and we're working our asses up and we're fucking loving it and we're having fun. So it would take 3 C's for me to get me to go back somewhere.
It's got to be very flattering for you.
It is very flattering.
That's the 3 C.
It's my favorite word. No, same kind of thing that Matt said. I mean, like, it's, yeah, for the first time in my life, I would have to think about a big offer. Whereas before getting a call from WWE my whole life, and then, my wrestling career, it's, yeah, sure, whatever. That's what I was before, because as an Australian, the first place that's going to offer you a visa, you take it, because you need to get out of Australia. If you want to be successful in wrestling, you got to get out. It's an island, So the mentality then was take the first thing that's given to you. Whereas now I'm in a position where I don't have to take the first thing that's offered to me anymore, and I can be a bit more selective. And, you know, I don't have the 3 C's requirements, but it's similar. You know, I mean, I'm not going to walk in and say that I need as much creative control as maybe he would, but he did 14 years there. I
don't need like Hulk Hogan creative control. That's not what I'm saying. You know, I don't want to be just another guy on the roster. Been there, done that.
Right.
Yeah.
And there are no promises ever, but at least like with the intent, you know?
Well, yeah, and I don't think anybody's going to get creative
Of course, that's not
control
what I mean.
again,
No.
but you
You
mean
know
like,
what I mean.
Yeah.
creative, like we have an idea for
There's
you.
a plan.
This
Right,
is
there's a
what we're
plan.
going to do.
I don't want to
Exactly.
be another guy in the fucking roster. I've been
No.
there, done that.
Yeah.
You know, I did it.
And but one of them is like, I do want to work with Matt. You know what I mean? Like what we're doing now is the most fun I've ever had in my career. I'm making the most money I've ever made in wrestling. So like
Wow.
whatever offer I'm getting has to be better than this. And this is pretty good right now. So I'm not in a rush to change anything either.
If you could have an action figure made by any company right now,
Yeah.
a new one.
Right. Besides Big Rubber Guys or Major Bendies.
Well, obviously, because you have the. I mean, I wish I had some big rubber guys here.
Yeah, well, they're
on pre-order.
Well, they're coming in probably this time next week. You'll have one if you pre-ordered.
I
On
pre-ordered.
MajorPopMerch.com. Are you going to pre-order Demolition?
Yeah, but I mean, I'm hoping I can get Brian and Matt in my hands
Yes,
first
yes,
to do the old test.
I will
key.
promise you the best LJN-esque figures ever made. Better, well, not better than LJN, obviously, but better than the Jacks try to do them, Chalk Line try to do them, Jazzwares try to do them. We're number 2 behind LJN for sure.
Yeah.
Behind the original.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes. What would that company be aside from any company that you already own?
Well, if WWE, if I ever went back, the one thing I would require,
This is legit now.
legit, is that Mattel would have to unfuck me. And they'd have to unfuck me and give me my WrestleMania 35 Elite figure. And Bill McKean, if you're listening, you would need to unfuck me and make that figure. Okay?
His
On the
words, not
record.
mine.
No, I'm kidding.
I have
that
nothing to do
wouldn't
with
be in
it.
the con. But
I love you, Mattel. I have nothing to do with it.
By the way, I love Mattel too.
First of all, I fucking promote them for free every fucking week on the Major Wrestling podcast. I love Mattel. But I'm just, no,
Look what I got right in front of me.
Yeah,
Mattel.
the retros. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I would love. Listen, Jazzwares is killing it. Mattel's killing it. So I would love an Elite figure or a Supreme figure or whatever, you know, Unrivaled, whatever they're calling them. Of course. Yeah, but that's. I wouldn't go back to a company just to get an action figure.
Can I? No, I would hope not at this point.
It'd be nice though.
Yeah. I mean, I can't get this. Because sometimes I think about like, okay, you know, if Cardona were coming back, if the 3 C's were
Yes.
right, and this
Yes.
unit were headed back to WWE, I can't get this thought out of my head. And you tell me
Okay.
if this is as appealing to you
Okay.
as it is to me.
We're fantasy booking here.
Fantasy book. You know I'm fantasy.
I
book.
love
We need
it.
Vince Russo here, bro.
This is what I do. Okay, can you imagine?
I'm worried I'm going to hate it. And
I don't
I
think
need
you-
to hide my face
I
if
don't-
I hate it.
Can you imagine the reaction? Right. Obviously, you're good at keeping secrets, unlike what
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes says. Right.
Not a pecker checker either.
And you're not a pecker checker. But can you imagine if nobody knew it was coming? Like, let's say you worked an Indy day
Yeah.
the night before.
Yeah.
By the way, that's the way we would do it.
You'd
Oh,
have to.
yeah.
You would
there is-
absolutely have to.
yeah.
And Edge is on TV and he either wins a big match or he cuts an
Oh.
emotional promo or
Oh.
something like that and just gets nailed with a broski boot.
Bro.
Can you
I have
imagine the
goosebumps. I have
reaction
fucking goosebumps.
if Matt Cardona, no reports,
Oh.
no Sean Ross Saps or Nick Kausman smartening anybody up, and just out of nowhere on a pay-per-view or on a SmackDown, Matt Cardona shows up. You're there with him, of course, and it's, you know, I mean,
It's a nice little mixed tag there as well, isn't it?
of
Of course, that's
Beth
right. That's a layup right
yeah, that's
there.
a
Beth
layup.
comes back. You held me down. I was your young boy. You
Yeah.
didn't let
Oh,
me get
it's-
the glory I
it's-
was
it
entitled
writes
to.
itself.
I never recovered. You understand?
Yeah.
I never recovered. They pushed me off the Titantron in a
Right.
wheelchair
That's right, they
because of
did.
you. I never
writes itself.
recovered.
Edge versus Edgehead. That was always a dream match of mine, still is. And when he had to retire, I thought it would never happen. And now, you know, he's back, then I get fired. But there's still time. It can
Oh,
still
100%.
happen. It's definitely up there for my dream match. Edge versus Matt Cardona, not Edge versus Zack Ryder. Zack Ryder's fucking dead.
Dead.
But
Dead.
you have all that footage.
Yes.
You have that's real history right there. And Edge is a guy who I tell her all the time, like, I'm just opening the door for her. She has to fucking deliver, and she has been. But,
100%.
right?
And that's the thing. Yeah, and I don't think anybody. I would hope nobody misinterprets that. Like,
Right.
this isn't just you. It's
No,
not just
100%
fill the
no.
heater
No,
position
no,
and whoever.
absolutely not.
If you weren't
Yeah.
on fire with this, it'd be
Yeah.
like, because that would hurt you
Right.
if she wasn't working.
And I say, you know, I opened the door for you just like Edge opened it for me.
right.
You know, without Edge,
And now I'm gonna shut it in
now I'm
his
going to
face.
shut his fucking face and reboot you right to hell.
Yes. Yeah, to hell.
Yeah. I would absolutely love that. That's some great fantasy book in there.
And then after the whole Edge storyline, even if Edge ends up winning, doesn't matter.
yeah.
The next night,
I'll put him over.
you put the kid over.
I'll put him over.
You put the kid over. The next night on Raw, you attack Cody Rhodes
Oh.
and you pick him up by his hair and you
Yeah.
look at him in the face and you go, I am not a pecker checker.
That's right. And then I take that Strong Island Nightmare Family jacket and I burn it.
Yeah.
I burn it.
I'll never wear it. You're like Sergeant Slaughter.
Yeah.
The jacket is on a stick and you're burning
again,
it.
writes itself.
Yeah. You're General Adnan.
Yeah.
It's great.
Mixed tag match there too.
Of course
Brandy
there is.
comes back.
Oh.
Look at that.
Oh.
It's Mixed Tag City.
And then, luckily, Chelsea's on fire on her own
Yeah.
over here.
Oh yeah.
But then
she's
that's
a-
another thing.
That's another
That's
element.
another
Right.
storyline.
Right,
Yeah.
right. You start
Not
fighting
on a
with
pole
Chelsea.
match.
Yeah.
Oh, when she like attacks me after the match, after the mixed tag, then Chelsea comes from backstage with the glittery
or-
star sweater.
What about this? What about this? What about this? Chelsea, what you never understood is all these idiots have wives,
Yeah.
but only I have a heater.
Yeah.
And you turn on
Perfect.
your own wife
I love
for
that.
your
I
heater.
think we're going a little too far there, Sam. Yeah, Chelsea's number one.
You don't want to disrupt the home.
No,
you
can't do
okay,
that.
You don't want to
Yeah.
disrupt the home. No, you
Yeah,
got cats.
they should book you. They should put you on the booking team.
You think so?
Yeah.
I just be sitting there pitching
Yeah.
Matt Cardona. All right, enough with Cardona.
Yeah. Fuck, that'd be great. I would love that. Yeah.
Oh.
You work in Stanford. Why don't you just sneak into the writer's room?
Just go up there,
Yeah.
guys. What do you think?
Yeah.
Spud,
Yeah.
what do you think about this?
Have you seen Vince in Stanford with the mustache?
I have not seen it because I'm usually in the TV studio, not in the tower.
The mustache looks great.
It looks amazing.
I thought about doing the mustache for a little bit.
You did?
Yeah.
Well, you did. Don't forget. As GCW champion,
Yeah.
you did the do-rag
I
events.
said that to him.
You
Text
legit
message.
said
I
that
legit
to
said
him?
it to him. He popped. And unfortunately,
You told me nobody had reached out to you.
he didn't reach out to me. I reached out to him.
But did he respond?
he responded. Yeah.
Nice.
But that wasn't
love
about
the-
that wasn't about coming back. I was
No,
just-
you just texted him. Look, boss, I'm dressed as you.
and I've since tried to text him, but they went green, so he must have changed his number. But I check every day. Is it blue again? Is it blue again? Let me check right now. No.
But he liked it. He enjoyed the tribute.
Well, yeah, he did.
Do you understand? I mean, I guess that's probably next level.
Yeah.
If you started showing up to GCW shows with a Vince 2023 mustache,
Oh my God.
so much. There's so
There's
much.
too many
there.
guys in wrestling with mustache. I don't think people would get the joke.
That's
it's not
true.
a joke. I think he looks very good.
I think he looks good, too.
Great. We need a Mattel with the new mustache.
I wonder if they're allowed. I wonder if they can do it.
They should.
I want it.
I want it.
I want it.
Yeah, I want it.
Maybe Cody should bring the mustache back.
Ooh, imagine that.
Except it wouldn't match his hair. He'd have the dark
Blonde
mustache and the
mustache?
blonde hair.
The
Or
blonde mustache.
he dyes the mustache.
That's heel turn.
Ooh,
Oh,
a bleached
man.
mustache.
It's dashing, isn't it?
Dashing.
Yeah.
He's still on my phone as Dashing Cody Rhodes. Just like your corporate Sam Roberts.
I mean, technically, I was texting Zack Ryder today, so I don't change
He's texting from
anybody.
the grave.
Well, look, I gotta let you go, man. You
Yeah.
got to get to Queens.
That's right.
You got to defend your world heavyweight championship at the time of this conversation against Carlito.
Carlito Caribbean Cool.
Yeah, you know.
I heard he's back now. Oh, sorry, pal, you're losing tonight.
Is there anything? I mean, I know like you got 100 things going on all at the same
Oh,
time.
God.
You know, the obviously the Major Wrestling Figure podcast
Yeah.
is on fire. The whole
Sure.
figure community. You guys let me in the Facebook group for free. I appreciate that.
Are you in there?
I'm in the Facebook group for free.
I'm so sorry.
I'm watching what Shawnee's up to with you.
Oh, boy.
I'm
There's a
lurk.
lot.
I don't post that much, but I lurk like
Oh,
against
man.
they're
There's a
like
lot.
crazy.
What
Yeah.
a great community that is, though,
It's- I
right?
love
It's
it.
unbelievable. It's really like bringing people together and so many friendships that have been made through that. People going to each other's weddings, people using the Major Fitness Challenge, changing their whole lives.
Yep.
And it's crazy. It's so much more than wrestling figures. It really is a community.
It's like the DDP yoga of wrestling figures.
I love it. I just spent 2 days with DDP in Atlanta.
I might be doing that too.
Really?
Yeah.
It's great.
That's awesome.
It's so much fun. The cold plunge is fucking cold.
Is it?
Oh yeah. It's colder than you think.
Well, Big Rubber Guys, obviously. You can go to MajorPodMerch.com.
Yeah.
Get the Big Rubber Guys. I don't know if does anybody have access to the SDL bendies anymore? I got to get one now because you've been here.
Those will be arriving soon, but they were pre-order, so
I know,
I'm
I
sure
didn't
they'll be on eBay. You know,
okay.
we might have ordered some extras for Major Pod merch.
All right, I'll hit up.
Yeah,
today.
We'll see. But thanks for having us, Sam. This is great.
Yeah,
thank you for
having
coming.
us.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll have to do it again, and it's amazing to watch the journey.
Thank you very much, Sam.
you.